Matthew Judon. Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play and we ride on them things like every day. Who cares? Sorry, Josh. I know you're from Atlanta, but... Face of the post-Brady era Patriots is now a Falcon. Patriots getting a third-round pick in return. Judon will immediately help the Falcons, who last year had only 42 sacks. Only 10 teams had fewer. He's awesome, that's why. Other news is that the Falcons signed Justin Simmons today, one-year, $8 million deal. So that's two pretty big ads for the defense. Are we starting to believe Atlanta's going for it, Greg?
They're trying. They're definitely trying to win that division. I believe that they will win that division. Obviously, Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator, defensive side of the ball, he's going to focus on bolstering that side of the ball. That's what he's doing. Obviously, getting Judon, you mentioned it yesterday, I think, in break or something. He's a player. Like, he is one of those guys. And he doesn't get enough credit because we didn't see him last year because of the injury. But for me, this is about their offense and what it's going to look like. You kind of alluded to this at some point, maybe yesterday or whenever we were talking. We don't know about Kyle Pitts because we haven't seen that Florida Gator version of Kyle Pitts in the National Football League. Drake London, we don't know about Drake London because we haven't seen that USC version in the National Football League due to quarterback play. So I do believe they have an upgrade at quarterback, clearly, with Kirk Cousins and even Michael Penix Jr. Bijan Robinson, we know what he's going to be able to do. So it's a matter of what they look like offensively and how can they complement one another. But when you're putting together a team, you're going to have to learn how to win, especially in win late games and close games. And, Coach, you can speak to this. That will be their biggest hurdle. It's kind of how I felt about the Packers last year. I felt like they were going to be, go through some woes, but they were going to have to figure out how to win with Jordan Love at quarterback. That's going to be the case with this Atlanta Falcons team and Kirk Cousins at the helm. Yeah,
I've actually liked Atlanta the last couple of years, and I thought that they would win the division. I think they're going to win the division this year, and I think that when you look at them offensively, they've got 6 number ones on offense, and that's without Kirk Cousins. Okay, so there's 6 number ones.
Does it include Penix, who won't play?
It doesn't include
Okay, all right, then that's fair.
6 number ones starting on the offensive side, including 3 on the offensive line. They've run the ball pretty effectively over time. Bijan, I think, had 4.6 yards carry last season. So you've got that aspect to it. And with adding a guy like Matthew Judon at this point in the season, assuming he's healthy, he is a guy that can ruin a game. And we saw him ruin games for other people when he was in New England, and he has that kind of impact. And he also seems like he's a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
So you had a veteran presence who's excited to be there, who has a chance to impact a defense that to me has been competitive a lot of times in a division that hasn't been very competitive. So this team should be very good, very competitive, and make a lot of noise this season.
All right, so 2 points. First one is this allows them, one of the reasons people were so, if they were critical of the Penix pick, was because they wanted them to take an edge rusher at 8. Because this team had no edge rushers to speak of. Now, long term, whoever you took at 8 as an edge rusher would have more upside than 32-year-old Matthew Judon. But for this season, I would imagine Judon is a better player than whomever they were going to take at 8. So it kind of allows you to, I don't want to say make up for the mistake of Penix, because I'm not saying that was a mistake, it was a choice. But the big criticism of that was you had top 10 pick and he's not going to play this year, but it was because it was a long-term thing. So for Atlanta, that is very, you know what I mean? It fills in that hole for this season very, very well. My takeaway was different, though, because my takeaway is about the deal the Patriots turned down. And so can we show the quote from Phil Perry's article? Because I find it interesting. There were several teams interested in acquiring the 32-year-old, including, to league sources, the Bears, whose desire for a pass rusher led them to offer a third-round selection of their own. The Patriots opted for the Atlanta pick, which is a third-round selection, no conditions, now in 9 choices 2025 draft. You just said the Falcons are going to win the division. You just said the Falcons are going to win the division.
You think the Patriots believe in the Bears?
Well, what I know is this. The Patriots said you can have the Bears' third-round pick or Atlanta's third-round pick. And they said, we think Atlanta's going to have the better pick.
Well, the Patriots have been making a lot of good decisions.
Okay, well, listen.
I would go based off that they probably nailed it.
Okay, but no, listen. Maybe they're wrong, but I did find that interesting. That they had the exact same offer from 2 teams. One of those teams is the Vegas favorite to make the playoffs, and that means host a playoff game, winning that division. And the Patriots said, yeah, we still think that pick is going to be better than Chicago's.
The only thing I would put a caveat on here, and again, it's an imagination take. Are they doing right by Judon? Do they give those to Judon and be like, hey, you know what? You were here. You're a great Patriot.
Oh, maybe.
We basically have the same offer here.
So I mean, I guess that's on the board.
Falcons or
and the Falcons. There's warm weather if you care about that. Maybe it's a more fun city. I don't know.
Maybe Judon said he didn't want to go to Chicago.
That's if that's
maybe
the case.
Judon wanted to stay with the Patriots, like he tweeted. Could you fail a physical?
Well, they don't have salary caps. Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah. We have $50 million.
I know.
Well, are we talking about Patriots here?
What are we doing with $50 million?
Roll it over to next year. So more guys can say no to it.
Carpe diem.
Yeah.
I tweeted at T. Higgins like I was a child.
You did.
Let's go to New England, where Greg Broussard didn't love the Patriots' joint practice with the Eagles. The offense was an absolute train wreck today, and I had a feeling that it was going to go this way. And what do they call that? Confirmation bias. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, and if this doesn't send the coaching staff and the front office back asking serious questions like, what the heck are we going to do? The Patriots are in real trouble this season. The question is, are the Patriots the worst team in the NFL? I'm going to answer it. We're not in real trouble. This is by design. We're on the drive for 5. It's like if you and I were in a log flume and you turned to me, you're like,
why would we be?
Because I have a log flume near my house.
Okay.
True story.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
If we got into a log flume together, you're like, hey, man, do you think we're going to get wet? Like, yeah, dude, that's why we're in the log flume together. Hold on to my shoulders. But I don't think, I don't know what Greg Bedard's expectations for the team is. We're on the drive for 5.
No, I disagree with you.
Our over-under is 4.5.
Yeah, but that's not by design. You drive.
Kind of is.
No, again, I said it yesterday, I will say it again. If you just spent a first-round pick on a quarterback in this league, you are not trying to be bad anymore. There is so little correlation between, there's so little difference historically between having the 7th pick and the 12th pick and the 15th pick. It's a slightly better chance, but it's crapshoot. And the reason people care about it is if, man, we're trying to get a quarterback. They just took a quarterback number 3. If the Patriots, let me ask you this. If they could make the playoffs this year, would they want to?
I would think so, but it doesn't seem like they want to.
No, well then maybe it goes to Coach's point, which is maybe the only person who knew what he was doing around there is gone. Listen, Bill Belichick,
the cupboard bare.
So I think he had lost his fastball on the draft. I do think there was a brain drain on the coaching staff.
Yes.
I think that's all fair. I think that so many of his assistants got great jobs and left, and then all of a sudden it's people he trusts and his sons, and I think that hurt them. That can be true. It can also be true that he did everything, and then he left, and now Robert Kraft's kid is doing a lot, and Gerard Mayo, who might end up being quite good, but is a rookie head coach, is figuring it out on the fly. And for some reason, you guys are drawing, in my opinion, arbitrary lines about we'll pay this guy who's, semi-holding out for more money, but Matthew Judon, who's slated to make $6 million, which everyone knows that's an absurd amount of money.
No, but he's 32 years old. I love Judon. I really like him. Like I told my son, it's like the first thing he's like, I have a Judon jersey. I was like, I know. And where?
Yeah. Would you have been disappointed if they would have decided to pay Judon?
No, because I don't care about the Microsoft Excel NFL. I just care about the great players. But then the part of me is like, you're 32. But we're not doing it this year. It would bother me if it was consistent. But I also had a report that we're trying to give a king's ransom to Brandon Ayuk. Now, it's another issue that he doesn't want to come. But it's not like they're holding all the money. They're trying to spend it, but nobody wants to come, I guess.
I mean, it's a little bit defeatist, isn't it? They're pretty excited in Chicago.
Yeah.
They're pretty excited in Washington with their quarterback.
Yeah.
There's some excitement in Denver with their quarterback.
Well, I don't know.
Well, that's ridiculous, but sure.
There was some excitement in Minnesota.
There certainly was.
Yeah. So to say
Texans
that,
last year, we just saw it work.
Get a quarterback with the 3rd overall draft pick, and you're just tanking without really even seeing that guy play.
But are we if we're trying to get Ayuk?
Well,
unless we were getting played.
Remember, they did draft a young first-round quarterback in the not-so-recent past.
Correct.
And went to the playoffs with him.
You don't have to
Okay,
remind
so
me.
that's not an impossibility.
Tell me.
And if anything, that fan base should be excited about the fact that they have a young quarterback, but doesn't feel that way. So now they move on from Judon. Everybody's saying, okay, we're tanking. Usually you tank, or you have the impression of tanking because you're trying to get a quarterback, not after you get the quarterback. Now you're trying to fill in spots to give them the best chance of win and be successful.
All right, Greg, can we move on to
For sure.
quickly?
Bottom
And then,
feeders.
meanwhile, Tom Curran on NBC Sports Boston. The Patriots' cautious approach with Drake May is a reaction to what happened with coach is shaking his head, Mac Jones. Curran said, "This is what happens when you destroy a first-round quarterback in the recent rearview mirror. The wreckage is still smoldering." This is a reaction to Drake only playing 6 plays because Mayo only wanted to start him with the offensive line.
So Jacoby Brissett only played that amount of plays too. And it was raining, and the offensive line was dinged up. So he considers both those two guys to be potential starters. That's why they played that amount of plays. But to parallel it to Mac's situation, who wouldn't be ecstatic to get what they got out of Mac his rookie year? He had a 92 quarterback rating. They went, 10-7. He went to the Pro Bowl. That was as good as they were going to get out of that rookie quarterback. So to say that this is an answer to the way they handle Mac Jones?
I think it's post-rookie season.
I'm
reading between the lines, but I think it's like the offensive line wasn't there.
So why don't they handle it the way they handled Mac his rookie season? Because that worked out pretty good. And then change year 2 and 3 if they think it's a bad deal. And they're probably not going to have a defensive coordinator and a special teams coordinating the offense. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I hope so.
Go ahead, Greg.
Look, the reality of it is, you know how I feel about rookie quarterbacks. I think they're great. They probably should wait. And so if you have a guy on your roster that can just bridge the gap a little bit, buy you more time, and you have a guy who's traveled, journeyman, who's been there before with your organization, understand what it needs to look like, and Jacoby Brissett, it's a no-brainer. Like if you can't get the receiver that you want, and you don't have the weapons to support the quarterback, and your offensive line is not going to be able to protect your quarterback, why throw him in there and say, oh, make it better? No, we expect guys like Patrick Mahomes to do things like that. Like, come on now, let's be realistic.
That's fair, but can we show the Albert Breer tweet about now they're playing for this next preseason game? After playing just one series last week, Patriots quarterback Drake May is set to get a lot more action tonight. The plan, I'm told, is have Jacoby Brissett play the first quarter, May play the second into the third, Joe Milton to go in the third and play into the fourth, and Bailey Zappi to finish. So here's I think there's an argument to be made to let Jacoby Brissett start the season. Also because you can go from Jacoby to Drake. It's a lot harder to go from Drake to Jacoby without it being an indictment on the pick. Yeah, and so that you don't want to have to do that. So that part, I don't think that is inherently a problem. I do think, and I thought Gronk made this point on Friday, and I thought he was right. I think wasting live action snaps on Bailey Zappi is ludicrous. You have Jacoby, who needs the reps just because he's probably going to be your week 1 starter.
Yes.
Then you have 2 rookies that one you spent the 3rd pick of the draft on. The other one you spent a draft pick on, Joe Milton. And then you have Bailey Zappi, who you've seen for multiple years, who's not going to be on the team. And I understand the Patriots once upon a time kept 4 quarterbacks to keep Tom Brady. But that would almost, in that instance, Tom Brady would be Joe Milton. You know what I mean? And I think Milton's done enough in camp where we know he's going to be there. If you're not going to play Drake May from week 1, I would want to get him a lot of training camps or preseason reps.
Yes.
And if you're saying, man, our offensive line situation is so bad that we can't play our kid in the preseason against second teamers more, that's not okay.
No, I know.
And so I just don't.
Well, you also have another game left where you can play these guys a lot too. If Jacoby's a starter, he's probably only going to play a series or 2, and they'll take him out, so there'll be some more reps.
I would hope so, and I think that's what will end up happening. What I do think the Patriots with Drake May or with Jacoby are going to be really bad this year. I don't actually think trading Judon is like inherently a bad decision. I think this could be, both the Falcons and the Patriots recognize where they were. A little win-win. And it made sense. I get that. I just don't, my biggest worry with the Patriots right now is the lead decision maker now Jonathan Kraft. And if that, is he the one kind of pulling the strings on this when I have no reason to believe like he has any expertise in this? And it seems like a lot of this stuff seems like it's coming ownership down, not coaching staff or GM down. And I don't even know if Elliot Wolf, where his voice comes from. So that's my concern.
You get 5 wins though. Book it. Make yourself a lot of money.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.